It's that time of year again, fewer than 96 hours until the big day. Marathon Monday, Patriots Day for us here, and for the rest of the Patriots around the country, Tax Day. And I'm here to remind you to file those taxes, or at least get an extension like the taxpayer-in-chief, or not, did last year. And I'm also here to urge you to resist your baser instincts and not cheat. Last year, roughly 6% of Americans said they did bend the rules on their income taxes, according to the personal finance site Credit Karma. And another 12% of Americans are supposedly fine with that, which leaves about 82% of us who say we don't cheat and say we aren't fine with it. I'm guessing about half of us are telling the truth. Now, the primary vehicle for cheating is underreporting your income. Easy for the IRS to track, so don't do that. The second largest cheating pathway was through falsifying the number of itemized deductions and dependents. Now, here's the good news. If you have 5 kids, even if you pretend one of them doesn't exist, you don't invite her to anything or ever talk about her, and let's say her name is Tiffany, you can still claim her when she's young enough to claim. But you cannot claim someone simply because you wish he was your dependent. Now, because of time constraints, I can't share more tips on, shall we call it, creative accounting. But if you want a few more, I'd suggest you read this. No, not that. I meant this. You can learn about which lines to cross and not cross. Like when your parents transfer to you, let's say, $1 billion in wealth, which should have produced a tax bill of at least $550 million at a 55% tax rate. But you were able to finagle it down to a 5% rate, which only added up to 1/10 as much in taxes. Again, I'm not saying that's something you should be doing, but if you must, at least you have someone to blame when the IRS comes knocking. Which reminds me of what Trump had to say about his own finances.
My finances are very clean.
Yeah, well, then what happened to that audit?
While I'm under audit, I won't do it. I will absolutely give my return, but I'm being audited now for 2 or 3 years, so I can't do it until the audit is finished.
Okay, so he'd like to, but he cannot do it while he's being audited.
If anybody's tax return is under audit, is there a rule that would prohibit that taxpayer from releasing it?
I think I've answered that question, no.
Okay, so maybe he was too worried he'd get caught claiming, I don't know, a tanning oil exemption as a business expense. Don't laugh. A Wisconsin bodybuilder once put in for tanning oil, and it was IRS approved. Now, worth noting for us real people, since it's starting to look like that middle-class tax cut Trump promised won't be reaching the middle class anytime soon. According to early IRS data, refunds are already down $6 billion, which is an average 8.8% lower. Now, as for my returns, as a champion of transparency, I am happy to release them, but sadly, that's right, I'm under audit.